What's up, Bearcats? How y'all doing on this fine Thursday evening? We made it this far through another week, pal. Hope you had a great day. Hope we got a lot accomplished. But it's time to close it out with a little bit of HMG after dark, pal. Whoop, whoop. And this week or tonight, it's going to be part 4 of the Vince McMahon Netflix docuseries. So let's get it fired up, pal. Giggity, giggity.
Dr. Jerry Graham is not the favorite citizen in this arena.
Favorites as kids. Jerry Graham was a doctor, obviously. Big guy, bleach blonde hair. He would light a cigar with $100 bill. The heel in the parlance of her business. Maybe that's one reason why I liked him. I don't know. Because I never liked the good guys. I liked him so badly. I convinced my stepmother to dye my hair blonde. And I learned to stretch just like he did. He doesn't walk. He struts. So he sort of took me under.
Okay, like this is new information. I had no idea that Vince McMahon had there was a wrestler he looked up to.
He's honking the horn going through intersections, regardless if the light was green or red. It's like, this is grand. I want to live my life like this.
Down the home stretch, pal. Yeah, I've never heard about him in this relationship with this guy. With Jerry Graham. What's up, Gam Wolfers? Good to see you, pal. Whoop, whoop. All right, that Dr. Jerry Graham character, that now makes a lot more sense. Like, okay, if he was like, yeah.
On the Survivor Series, Bret Hart, the Hitman, is counted out by Vince McMahon. And
whoop, whoop. What's up, Lab Rat? Good to see you, pal. Hope you had an awesome Thursday. Whoop, whoop.
It just was so crazy surreal. That caused knew that Vince double-crossed Bret Hart, which was something very, very unprofessional by the rules of professional wrestling. There's two sides to every story, but most people did not side with Vince on that one.
Listen,
yeah, give me my dose of Vince, pal.
Like, I fucking hated Vince.
Vince goes on television and tries to explain it. He didn't come off very well. Screwed Bret. No sympathy whatsoever for Bret. The Bret screwed Bret speech, that begins a moment in time where reality takes front seat to fantasy and we begin to blur the line.
Okay, that's cool. I got you. Yeah, I've never heard that before. This is the first time.
I always wanted to be a performer. And that wouldn't let me into business, much less. He just thought, no, that's not what you want to do. And I said, yeah, that's what I really want to do. What happened? Vince McMahon creates the Mr. McMahon character, the evil tyrant boss, and eventually that would change the trajectory of the business.
Let's talk about the business and the challenge that you have received from WCW. If I look at cable listings for January in 1 week, WCW is number 1, number 2, number 4, and number 6. You're down in number 18.
Through 97, WCW, they were just so far ahead. And their product was better. So I'm just thinking that's like, this is just a domination. Future.
I think once Bret Hart made the transition,
Yep. That's a good comparison, Gam. That's a good way of putting it.
from WCW, they were hitting that 18 to 34-year-old demographic with really cutting edge stuff. 83 weeks of getting our tails kicked in the ratings, it messes with your confidence, it messes with your psyche, but it also lets you know that you got to do something different. I knew if we didn't change, we just get left behind.
You're dealing with networks and you're dealing with people in the networks that are looking at you going, hey, these guys are beating in the ratings and I see our talent on their show. What's going on here, guys?
You're listening to the audience. And
This is where they really needed Russo to be in this.
for us to take and evolve.
When I started working with Vince, it was absolute war between the two franchises.
It'll be me and you, McMahon.
Very nice, Gam. Glad you enjoyed it, pal. Whoop, whoop.
He wanted to be known. Bold, being a little crazy.
Vince came out and did an interview.
Yeah, there was. One night, Vince was not at the television taping, and Shawn Michaels came down in bicycle shorts. And right before he went out, he stuffed the front of his shorts with a sock.
It was gauze, wasn't a sock. It was gauze that I wadded up from the dinner table. And I was, bouncing around. Vince's reaction was to call me the next day and tell me how unprofessional it was and that he was fining me $10,000. Then I said, okay, but you go back and watch that. Tell me if that isn't funny. If we're talking about entertainment, it was very entertaining. That was one of the things that got us into the conversations of, we need to start going there. I felt like you can have respect for this line of work, but you don't have to act like it's freaking not weird. Suffice to say, I weaseled my way out of the $10,000 fine.
Vince was livid, but then 3 or 4 weeks later, remember Vince pointed to Shawn Michaels. That's attitude. That's what he says. He's got attitude. We need more attitude. The Attitude Era was born. The Attitude Era was just this transformation that took place. We changed how we presented.
Absolutely not, Nelso.
A little grittier.
Nah, man.
Made it a little more raw.
People just go,
Dude, that was like they even showed a clip from WrestleMania 12.
Generation X is what we would call in sports entertainment. They were an offshoot of the clique. They were anti-authority. And there's something about anti-authority at this time that really spoke to fans. And whether it was part of the fix. and turn away.
Started doing DX. And most of the things we were saying and doing, Vince was coming back and telling us, and you guys do that again and you're going to get fucked like him. USA's threatening to take us off the air. But we're like coming in the back and people are going crazy. And then there's a flip moment in time where all of a sudden it's, hey, that worked. Do that again.
We just finally changed the writing to where it wasn't for a 12-year-old demographic. It got into that 18 to 34-year-old male demographic.
Once that door was opened up.
Yeah, and who was there? Who was actually writing it?
Those arenas and stadiums, it was just like we got to do whatever we got to do to be the best.
The biggest star of the Attitude Era by far was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Anytime you stick your head in the ring with Steve Austin, bottom line is, I'm going to kick your ass. Straight and simple.
It's something that we weren't used to seeing. This kind of foul-mouthed, roughneck, blue-collar Southern badass.
When I first got into the business of professional wrestling, I never had any designs on being as successful as I am. How far some ragamuffin from Victoria, Texas can take it.
Prior to WWE, Steve Austin was a wrestler in WCW, but he got fired from WCW. So he winds up in ECW, which is sort of the punk rock indie federation in the pro wrestling world.
Walking into that federation, it was an eye opener and a hell of a scene.
ECW was the necessary disruption of the pro wrestling / sports entertainment industry. No rules, no regulations, a testosterone and adrenaline driven, no holds barred. This can't possibly be legal. What the fuck am I watching atmosphere? It was a mosh pit. ECW was a wild, renegade type promotion that attracted a niche audience.
Yeah, I thought it was cool they at least put a clip of Brian Pillman in ECW. Yeah, it really did, Gam. Like, that's basically where he kind of laid the foundation for the Stone Cold character.
Vince always saw everyone else as a feeder system to the major leagues of WWE. So I knew we didn't have Steve for a long time. We were going to make it quality time every moment that he was in ECW.
We achieved a lot of success in a short time, and Vince took serious notice of me, and that's when I would go to WWE.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, I love it, McMahon.
So
Nah, Steve, that's for someone else.
It became this just trash down Texas. It became very entertaining, and people started disliking me. We started gaining traction. Now, at that time, everybody knows that Triple H was supposed to win that King of the Ring pay-per-view. But then Triple H got punished because of what happened in the Garden. And I hear his voice behind me. It's Vince. He goes, "Hey, Steve, you got a second?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so. You're the boss." He says, "Hey, I just want to let you know in 2 weeks you're going to win King of the Ring." We get to the King of the Ring pay-per-view. I'm wrestling Mark Merrill first. We do a move. He kicks me in the mouth. Bust my lip wide open. I've got to go to the hospital immediately and get 14 stitches. As soon as I come back from the ambulance, Michael Hayes comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, you got Jake the Snake Roberts in the final. Jake just a religious promo on you. Power above is reaching down and lifting me up." Immediately, I thought of Austin 316 because back in the day, you watch football games, they would put John 316 signs in the end zone. Go out there, work the match with Jake. Up the microphone. And I just went out there and started running Jake down. You sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your songs. Talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass.
When Steve said that, I went, oh my God, tell me you didn't just do that. It may not play too well, and the Bible Belt.
And then I kept talking and kept talking. And I could hear Ben doing the commentary. And I said, oh man, I need a button on this promo. And so just out of the blue, I said, and that's the bottom line. Stone Cold said so.
It was brilliant. It changed who he was and perception of who he was as a character. The next night, everywhere you looked were Austin 3:16 signs. Austin 3:16 took over, and it was insane.
When the Monday Night War started, ratings for a while, we understood it. But
Yes, they're bringing in Mike Tyson. I got uncocky real fast. The idea for bringing in Mike Tyson came from Vince, and Shane McMahon was heavily involved. He wanted a big personality, someone extremely identifiable to be a part of WrestleMania. And there was at that time no one bigger than Tyson. I believe he had gotten out of jail for about 3 years earlier.
Knowing Mike Tyson's baggage during the 90s, was it risky for WWE to so fully invest into it?
I think he hadn't been arrested for rape.
Mike is not perhaps universally approved of now, but he's certainly, his public image is certainly in a better place than it was at that point.
Wrestling at that level, it's about generating heat. Heat is what sells tickets. And heat doesn't have to be positive. Heat can be negative.
Specifically, I would like to thank Mike Tyson, being the media magnet that he is. Tyson being on pay-per-view. Mike would be the special guest referee between some Gold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels. It's Mike Tyson, like one of the biggest names in sports. And by then, you have to be blind not to see Steve Austin was taken off.
Mike, I'll tell you this. If you get in my face at WrestleMania, I'll knock your damn lights out and you won't want to get.
Yeah, no, like a lot of this stuff, yeah, a lot of us all know this.
At that point, I thought that WCW is going to get very, very competitive.
WrestleMania 14, Sean had a real bad back, and so that match was very forgettable.
Dude, why not do? Yeah, I agree with you, Gam.
The match wasn't good.
It absolutely would have.
Remember afterwards.
And then you have Tyson, Jake Paul.
Steve, don't worry about it. From here
And then you get Logan and Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson and someone else on the roster. You do double business, pal.
The WWF necessarily appreciate the Mr. McMahon character, at least in my mind.
after the Mike Tyson storyline played itself. was trying to keep me down and control me, and it's about me trying to fuck the system. You stupid bastards, you ain't got the balls to fire Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Get me the boss man, pal.
Because of what I'm doing, the direction I'm talking, you're pathetic. You're completely pathetic. But I was the guy that brought the gray area to the business of professional wrestling, which is usually a black and white type thing as far as love and hate.
So my day, it was a good guy and a bad guy. The bad and the worst. There was no more good guys in wrestling.
Society at that time had taken a rougher edge. Society at that time had more attitude that forced you to create characters that fit into that gray area in the middle.
The fans did not want to see good guys no more. Nobody want to see a good guy, even in the movie.
That'd be pretty cool.
Look at the
Feel like a WWE movie.
in the wrestling to what is in front of us. You tap into that. That's big money. So Vince said, hey, give me some of that money.
Dude, it looks like they're stealing credit for everything that Russo contributed.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, who is as cool as he is mean. And he's just
That's some straight bullshit, pal.
worship. Feels like smashing a beer bottle, he doesn't. Feels like throwing up his middle finger, he doesn't.
Some part of us really loves watching the bad guys get over. Maybe the part of us that doesn't like the fact you can't go around insulting people.
People live vicariously through those kind of storylines.
Oh yeah, definitely a fluff piece, pal. Like what the fuck?
I got a chance to literally figure almost every money out. I think the fans responded strongly because he's such a strong character. He's just so over the top. He's larger than life. He's easy to hate. He's also easy.
Dude, that was a good shot. Whoever threw that drink cup at Vince, and he was in that wheelchair getting help push up the ramp. It landed right in his arm.
Any and everybody that's the guy at the Vince walks by with his custom suits and his flaunting and everything. What's to like? He's easy to hate. It's about my, I'm not much. I'm not. And he became the most hated character.
100% game, pure corporatocracy, pal.
McMahon, of course, is a character derived from Vince McMahon, and it's a character of someone I could relate to when I was growing up. Because when I was growing up, I was like dirt poor. Coming from that environment, I don't like rich people, because I was around some people who thought they were better than me because they had more money. So it felt like you weren't anybody at all. You were nobody.
Yep, and Russo might have been like, you could make the argument he's kind of the one of the few people who actually got one over on Vince and never kind of had it paid back to him. So this is his way of trying to do it. You know, among other ways of him trying to do it.
Yeah, one. And so with my character, Mr. McMahon, I can play someone who intimidates, because that was the way I grew up. That was the way I thought rich people were. They tried to intimidate you. You're gonna get it. I don't want to be an arrogant person that just like throws his weight around and a bully and that sort of stuff. It was easy for me to get into that character because I knew all the things that I disliked. Some people are rich and you're not.
Who knows how to manipulate a crowd as well or better than anybody that's ever done it?
Well, heat is the color. You go out and you manipulate the audience, and you know they boo the hell out of you, and you really want to get that heat and feel it. We're not afraid of it. It's like go embrace it.
This is what I think of Texas.
Such a great feeling.
Sure, making people care or making people hate him or feel emotion. Emotions are when you sell tickets.
It's emotion. You can match that.
Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.
One thing looking at you, it's one-on-one. That's when you know you have it. Performing is easy. Being yourself is the more difficult part.
What similarities do you share with Mr. McMahon?
Character, Mr. Man, with me?
Yeah.
None whatsoever. Mr. McMahon is an extension of Vince. Way out of proportion.
The difference between Mr. McMahon and Vince McMahon, probably not that much.
Exactly the same person. It's not a far stretch. The character of Mr. McMahon is really just Vince. He'll tell you different. No, Mr. McMahon is Vince. A lot of the promos and the diatribes that have been on other people, I've had actually cut on me in real life. I never say that. I say, yeah, you would. You said it to me.
Bruce claimed that he's been on the receiving end of the Mr. McMahon in real life.
I'm very, very passionate about our business. And sometimes that passion is a bit diffusive. So I probably can get out of bounds a little bit.
The Mr. McMahon character is pretty close to Vince the Man, but obviously highly exaggerated. The best characters in wrestling are guys at their core with the volume turned up. What you saw from me as Stone Cold was me with the volume turned up. Same with Vince.
Much of great fiction is that funny line between reality and storytelling. Vince loved blurring that line between fact and fiction.
A lot of people have confused through the years television and who I am. Still one thing. I mean, I'm not that different. And I realized it doesn't matter what you want, Vince. It doesn't matter how you want to be perceived. It's the way you are being perceived. Your perception is reality. You can't change the way people think about you.
Dude, he would have been a fantastic devil in a movie.
And that dynamic was just ridiculously good. You could make a great argument it's the greatest feud in wrestling history.
The rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon is what generated the huge amount of ratings for WWE that essentially ended the 83 weeks of WCW beating them in the ratings, and ultimately, like a tsunami, overtook the wrestling business, period. It was the hottest thing in the world.
I say this and I know it's going to sound like I'm putting myself over and I'm being an arrogant prick, but Vince took our formula, going to do it, only he was going to do it better. And he did. There were so many things that we did in WCW that WWE was nothing more than a derivative of the NWL. The Mr. McMahon character. That he is would have done.
To be fair to Vince, Vince actually did kind of a prototype of the Mr. McMahon character in USWA.
It wasn't fresh anymore. Things that were going on in WWE. All I got to do is go with these guys and I'll always be there. And in wrestling, everyone's got a shelf life and you always have to make new stars. And Vince was trying to make new stars because he had to. And that's the bottom line. Vince got very lucky. Austin was an incredible success. And then Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson comes.
You smell.
Great to welcome to the show one of the fastest rises to the top in the history of wrestling, The Rock. Let's start off with a bit of your history. When you broke in, you were packaged as a part of a wrestling legacy.
My grandfather was High Chief Peter. Along with Tony Atlas, became the first black tag team champions. Rock, everything he do is just like his father. Walk like his father, wrestle like his father. You didn't know nobody like that, Rocky Johnson. I remember meeting Vince McMahon Jr. when I was 11 years old. Looked down at me, good to meet you. Give me a great firm handshake, look me in the eye.
When he came in, we really promoted him as this third generation guy that you're going to love.
He's going to be the first third generation superstar ever.
We shoved him down their throats.
Hey. A lot of our audience, I think, thought that this person was just like handed this opportunity. And no matter how hard Dwayne worked in the ring, initially people started pulling him.
I'm sitting here about the Rocky might be his old man. Who cares?
The fans hated The Rock because WWE told us to love The Rock. And it took The Rock turning heel and acknowledging that the fans were booing him for the fans to start to love him.
Nation Domination was a faction that was.
Yeah, that's very similar. A lot of parallels there, pal.
And I said, I would just love the opportunity to speak.
Points, Lab Rat.
He said, 3 words. Die, Rocky, die. That's the gratitude I get from you pieces of crap. And I said, it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing. It's a respect thing. It's about me kicking your ass thing. This isn't about the color of my skin. This is about respect. You know, sometimes in our life where there's a shift and a click, and you go, man, there's some real power behind that. Just like that, within a month, I became the hottest heel in the company. It was smell what the Rock is cooking. I remember having a conversation with Vince and him saying, I'm going to make you WWE champion. I said, you know, this is a really big deal. I said, I'm the first WWE champion of color. He said, I know. And he goes, but I don't see that. Vince, and I know this for sure, he was always about, I don't care what color you are. You can be black and green, and purple. You can be a unicorn for all I give a shit. As long as you are drawing money, you will be champion. So it ain't got nothing to do with color. It's not racism. It's business. He don't see black. He don't see white. He see only green. For people who knew WWE at that time, the Attitude Era, it was a unique and special time because it truly was whatever you can imagine, we can do. And we did.
Yeah, pal.
The Attitude Era, man, it was a movement. Everywhere you went, you saw. Rock. Everybody was in on it.
They were so popular. Their merchandise was everywhere.
The influence was all over the culture.
You invited The Rock to speak at the Republican National Convention?
Welcome the one, the only, Triple H.
For a lot of us in the Attitude Era, we went from being like, yeah, I'm a dude on TV that people recognize occasionally to he can't go anywhere. It was getting out of control.
They're making way more money now than they did then. But I mean, as far as actual real popularity, that was the peak.
It's the entertainment phenomenon.
Dude,
$1 billion industry worldwide.
Dave just kind of said exactly what Russo's been saying. Yeah, they're making more money now, but the popularity was at the peak back then. No shit, dude.
People who remember that period, I mean, that is a very fond memory because wrestling really was huge mainstream at that time. From a pure marketability standpoint, the product they were putting
Not tonight. I got off of work too late to be able to watch TNA, but we will be doing a replay on Sunday. Whoop, whoop.
Wrestling, millions of fans are pouring in, but this business has serious questions, some involving violence and sexually explicit content.
Promoters would have you believe it's family entertainment. But if you've never been to a show or never seen one on TV, watch one. You're in for a shock.
As performers, you're just going for whatever the biggest reaction is. You're seeing these things get bigger reactions than anything else. So you're going down that road of going to be edgy. I can do what I say. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But there's a lot of stuff online.
Oh, seriously, dude?
We ever get away with that stuff. You can take your pick. What it's told.
Critics say the World Wrestling Federation pay the envelope of good taste.
Perhaps no one has.
All right, well, in that case, might be doing an HMG After Dark on Sunday then, if that's the case.
Not anything, everything. And they pushed it. They pushed that for all of the world. We're going to go low, and then we're going to go lower, and then we're going to go lower.
This was maybe a standard deviation beyond what we were doing before. But
Oh, yeah, that was rough, pal. That was rough.
Am I not you rapist? No use of knives or guns or anything like that.
Witness a recent simulated castration.
So it's still family friendly. Maybe for more of an adult family, not for young kids.
You know, they were doing the double talk. They would say, we're not marketing to kids, when in fact their audience was kids. And so some people would go like, hey, you've got a responsibility not to have such a bad influence on kids. You know, they go, oh, but we're not.
Oh.
That's what we used to do. You know, and it's like,
Okay, I did not know that.
Primarily
Thank you for that heads up.
young males.
Then that makes sense then.
Bought by and enjoyed by adults. These are for 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Frankly, the Attitude Era, the kids embraced it. They were seeing something maybe they weren't supposed to see. So the Attitude Era, in many ways, probably attracted kids. Would I have let my kids watch it? Yeah, I probably would have.
It's a monster. This is what it is. It's a nationwide monster.
Would I have let my kids watch it? Yeah, probably.
I'm entitled to mine. We wholeheartedly would want parents and everyone to be able to exercise their freedom of choice. Damn it, it is America. Go live in your world. Don't like us. Click us off. Don't watch us.
Look, I was the one certainly leading the charge in that, you know, don't tell us to raise your children. You need to raise them yourself. And if they're influenced,
Or he might have. I don't
that's your fault.
100% remember.
Having a daughter, look, there are times we probably could have less objectionable towards our women. Stop this! Stop your women! Stop your women! We continue to consistently go. Of taste. There were a lot of questionable things. You look pretty damn good on your knees, John. It almost looks like a natural position.
It was, exploitive of women like you wouldn't believe, but that's what was selling. And the audience was guys, teenage guys seeing women like that. From a pure marketing standpoint, it was very, very successful.
The Attitude Era women weren't really considered wrestlers. Eye candy. That's kind of what they were at the time. Sable was the pioneer WWE diva, so to speak. She knew exactly what her role was. People know her as Sexy Sable, but she was also athletically contributing to the show, which I think is overlooked at times because it wasn't normal, it wasn't acceptable, it wasn't what the women did. At the time, like the late 90s, you had Jerry Springer.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all, the bad get better.
You had train wreck television that was happening. Howard Stern was huge.
I want to bang Bonnie, Jill, and Brandy.
The Attitude Era definitely was a reflection of what was going on in the real world.
Society at that time was a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Gam.
And we were reflecting that in every way. Some of the things.
Okay, then, yeah, we'll be doing an HMG After Dark on Sunday, then.
That would be suggested to that time. But that was
We might end up finishing the doc. Yeah.
Vince McMahon is part of his time.
Yeah, so...
The difference is that he's
What's more important, though, is those people who lost, just the people who had their lives affected, lost, their homes destroyed. A wrestling show is the least thing to worry about.
A lot of times, the highest rating in that segment were women. Much higher than some of the great matches and things of that nature.
We felt like we needed to be edgy because that's what television was at that time. TV. Damn thing Vince can do about this. We always want to serve our audience, so we did, and of course took it maybe a little too far in some cases.
Look back at it now and say how crazy it was. You can look back at it now and say, God, you should have never done that, or that was so inappropriate, or it was. And who's worse, the guy who did it or the people that loved it? I don't know.
Welcome to the War Zone, everybody. It's your host, joined by HMG ringside, and the order of the World Wrestling Federation is on.
Owen Hart, I'm ordering you to appear in this ring right now.
Oh, boy, it's going to get a little bumpy here.
I said, Owen, do you want to stay with us, or do you want to leave? To stay.
It's time for me to do what I have to do, and that is remain right here in the World Wrestling Federation.
When I went to WCW and Owen stayed, nothing was the same anymore. And he thought I was mad at him. If anything, I had great sympathy for him and felt badly that he was in the predicament that he was in. Owen had nothing to do with either me or Vince, but he was going to pay for it. And they kind of humiliated his character as often as they could for quite. So they ended up doing a storyline with him where they said,
Yeah, like this Owen thing, for this Owen section, you'd really need Russo here to fill in a lot of these holes and gaps.
We got a big match tonight. We were live in a pre-tape interview of Owen. We were going to drop Owen down, kind of plate, and I could feel something overcame me. And I remember something bad. I can feel.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you're doing live television, a lot of things can happen, and sometimes they are not good. The Blue Blazer, as we know, as Owen Hart, was going to make a very spectacular superhero-like entrance from the Raptors, and something went terribly wrong here.
Thank God for the audience that we were in a blackout, so they didn't really see it. Thank God. The lights came up, they saw Owen in the ring, and that was not working on it. We wondered whether or not.
Dude, that's the first time I've ever seen that photo.
Surely he could be.
Wow.
Lawler back joining me here. Keno, I was just reiterating the fans. This is not part of the show. We're here to entertain and have fun, but this is
Allegedly.
No, it doesn't look good at all. Jerry Lawler came back and says, Bruce, I think he's dead. But, no. You know, I was like, how do you even say that? The policeman who was next to me pulled me off to the side, and Vince was there, and he let us know. They pronounced him dead.
responsibility to let everyone know that Owen Hart has died. Owen Hart has tragically died from an accident here tonight.
The decision that basically I had to make was whether or not the show goes on. The live audience didn't really see what happened. Had they seen it, there's no question about it. You have to shut the show down.
We didn't announce it to the live house because I just didn't think that was the right thing to do.
Those people came to see a show. They didn't come to see somebody die. Me as a businessman, it's like, well, okay, let's continue on. Let's continue the show.
First off, Owen Hart, I'm praying for you, buddy. Val Venus, you've been chasing these puppies around. Well, pal, I got news for you. Those are my puppies, and they always have been.
You know, one of your buddies just died, like literally just died in this ring, and his blood is right there. And we're going out there wrestling, you know, trying to perform for this audience that doesn't even.
All right, that's Meltzer telling him something that's not true. That was not Owen's blood. That was from the bloodbath spot that happened on Sunday Night Heat.
With the blood of Owen Hart still in the ring. I'm not sure.
So there are a lot of negative comments actually as to whether or not this show should have continued.
I actually know firsthand from the wrestlers involved that they wheeled my dead brother past, right past all the wrestlers, and actually pushed wrestlers out the door and said, go, 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 you're on.
Absolutely. Brent's going to feel like, you know, like a brother should. He had every right to say anything negative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Vince McMahon had dropped Shane McMahon from the ceiling, and he splattered on the mat. I don't think he would have scraped him off the mat and set the next match up.
It had been me, not just my son. It had been me who was splattered on the mat. Said, I want the show to go on. So get me out of there, you know. Let the show go on. Do it with me. To this day, I would.
All right, that does. All right, that right there explains a lot about his decision. Then he even if that was him that would have died, he would have said, "Yeah, keep it going."
At 10:01 a.m. this morning, my legal counsel filed a wrongful death lawsuit for my husband's death.
So Owen, we settled the lawsuit basically with his wife. And then we find out, which we thought, oh, it wasn't our fault. Unfortunately, the apparatus they were using was defective, and the manufacturer knew it was defective. And then we sued the manufacturer.
They investigated Vince and WWF for a long time. A policeman from Kansas City's police department called me, and he goes, I promised you I'd call you, and I'm calling to tell you that there's nothing criminal here, that this was just a horrible accident. And for me, when I heard that, it was like, okay, it's an accident. I think in my heart of hearts, forgave Vince.
I had plenty of reasons to have issues with Vince, but they were on a professional level and not on a personal level.
Do you think there will be any changes in wrestling because of this? I certainly hope so. We're not so dead against the wrestling business. What we are disappointed in is in the, sort of the drastic turn that wrestling's taken in the last 2 years. And it's a shame that, you know, the fans have sort of become wild dogs that sort of want more and more and more all the time.
At that point, we're all pushing the envelope. Everybody's willing to do whatever it takes. No one's saying that I won't do that. It's too dangerous. But at some point, enough is enough.
We want to give our fans what they want. We're probably pushing as far as we can right now, but who knows as it relates to the future.
Jeez, bro. All right, gang. Well, that is part 4 of the Vinnie Mac docuseries. And I think we'll actually conclude it on Sunday with parts 5 and 6. With a HMG Super After Dark, pal. So I hope you have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow for SmackDown, Saturday for Collision. Take care, pal. Whoop, whoop, yeet, giggity, giggity.